In this video, I'll cover the basic use of FILMORA video editing software to create a video for YouTube or Facebook or other social media websites. I'm creating this video primarily for my friend Matt, who picked up a GoPro 9 camera on the Black Friday 2020 sale from GoPro. He received that in the mail and shot some video, and I've challenged him to learn how to do some video editing. Currently, we're on his channel here under the name of Silver Camaro 45. But right now we can see in his videos there's no editing. It's just 2 to 3 minute clips. So Matt needs to figure out how to use an application to splice and cut different videos and put them together, and that's what we're going to do here today. All right, so here we have FILMORA. We can go up to the top and select File, Project Settings. So here we would determine what the quality of this video is that we're editing. I've got it set here right now for 1920 by 1080 Full HD. We can also select 4K. And then we want to take a look at the frame rate. So you want to take a look at the videos that you're planning to, well, that's pictures. Take a look at the properties of the video files that you'll be editing, like how are they captured. Look at the details here. So GoPro videos that we'll be illustrating today were captured in 29.97 frames per second. So when you're doing your recording, especially if it's with multiple sources or multiple settings within the GoPro itself, you want to try to use 30 frames per second for all of your videos, or 24 frames per second for all of your videos. Keep it consistent from an editing perspective. It'll turn out better in the end. So let's say if you're doing a GoPro 9 time-lapse video and GoPro 9 video recording and GoPro 9 time warp video, just try to get all those settings to be the same within that camera. Or if you're using multiple cameras, make sure before you go out to set them all to be 30 frames a second or all to be 24 frames a second. Unless you're going to do some slow motion editing. For example, you might capture some video in 120 frames per second and then slow that down when you're putting it into the application to 30 frames per second. That would be fine. So enough on that topic. So look at the frame rate. We're just going to cover the basics here. So we're going to go ahead and do 4K. Now in Matt's case, I have no idea what the quality of his computer is. So if it doesn't edit very well, or he has a lot of problems rendering videos in 4K, like maybe his computer just isn't capable of doing it, then he would have to go into this and perhaps select different settings such as Full HD, which would be like a 1080p or like a 1280. So you have to take a look at that and choose a setting that's best for your specific computer. So we just looked at the video. We were 29.97 frames per second, so we'll go ahead and select that and then select OK. Now on the top here we have media. We have a folder. It says drop your video clips, images, or audio here, or click here to import media. So let's take a look at some files that I've kind of pre-selected here. There's different strategies that people have. Some people will just edit all the files in place when they're doing video editing. Other people like to kind of gather and pull copies of the file and put them all in the same folder. That's generally what I tend to do. So I'm just going to go ahead here and actually select copy. I have a separate hard drive that I call Video Create. We're going to put this in the Video FILMORA folder, and we're going to create a new project. Here, I'm going to even create another folder inside of that called Video Files. So this is personal preference. You don't necessarily have to do it this way. You can pick the files. You can just drag them in from what their normal location is if that's what you want to do. So while that's working, we'll go ahead and take a look at some other items. So we have other videos here. Maybe I should have planned ahead. Just copied them there to begin with, but we'll go copy. And where did we put that? Video files. We'll right click and do paste. Kind of get that queued up. And then I had some image files that I thought we would throw in there just to show the adding of an image file versus a video file. Now if you're going to do some audio files, you can use the audio files from Filmora. If you're going to be posting your video on Facebook, you could go to Facebook. Oops. Get this out of there. Facebook sound collection. Do a search for that. So if you're posting videos on Facebook, you could go here and do a search and listen to different songs. You can do kind of sort, kind of from by different genre. And then download a file. If you're going to be posting the video on YouTube, there we go, YouTube audio library. All right, so here's YouTube library. You can sit here and listen to files. Now, how you create a video depends on the person. A lot of people plan out their videos ahead of time. When you're capturing it, you know what you're going to shoot. You're doing it really efficiently. You kind of have a plan going into it. And then after you do that, you probably then pick a song out later to match up with your video files that you've captured. That's probably a good way to do it. I'm kind of motivated by editing based on the audio file. So for me, I tend to still have that plan going into the shoot, like what files or videos do I want to capture, and I kind of have an idea of general sense of what I'm going to call it footage. I hate the word footage in YouTube video because these are all digital files. There's no film, but so I decide what I'm going to capture from a video perspective and capture all those clips. But I don't really have a song in mind yet or a theme. And then after I kind of like go back and look at those clips, I'll start just sitting here listening to different songs. And then kind of find one that kind of strikes me as kind of matching up with the videos that I've captured or setting a mood for the videos I captured. And that kind of dictates how I'm going to typically do my editing. So that's how I approach it. Everybody has their own unique approach. You might want to do something differently. So here we are, free music, Calvin Harris. Ooh, that's interesting. All right, so I think what we want to do though first before we pick a song is we need to kind of like take a look at all these files that we've kind of put over here now. So get all this closed. We've got that done. All right, no, we don't want to close that. All right, so we're going to leave that open and we're going to open up Filmora again, and then we'll put Windows Explorer on top of Filmora. Oops, let's get rid of that and get rid of this folder. All right, so I had some images. So it says drop your video clips, images, or audio here. So we can just go here and drag the image files in there. We can see like the little picture icon in the right corner here. That's going to indicating those are photos. So that's one way to do it. The other way we can do it is if I right click on the screen here, we can see the word import. So then we can navigate to the folder where our files are located. Select Control and A on the Windows keyboard to select all the files and select Open. Editing with smaller proxy clips will result in a faster, smoother experience. When exporting, your projects will render with a full quality. To change the setting, go to Performance in the Preferences menu. That's a really great tip. So if Matt, when he's editing his video in Filmora for the first time, finds that his computer is very laggy, he can't play the video in the timeline because maybe the video card in his computer isn't capable or of rendering him in real time and real speed in a higher quality, or maybe it's his computer itself or the hard drive that it's reading the file from. All those things could impact the ability to edit. So the computer processor or CPU, the video card or graphic card, also the speed of your hard drives where the files are stored, those could all impact how smoothly things play when you're editing. And if it's really choppy when you're editing, it's going to be very kind of hard to see what the outcome is. So kind of, again, that would be something you want to take into account when you're editing. So we'll find out here in a second if I can edit on this computer in 4K in Filmora. So we'll go ahead and answer to change the setting, whatever. So they're not asking me to change the setting. They're just saying like really an acknowledgement of, do you want to do it? Editing, blah, blah, blah. So we'll answer like create, oh, it's saying create proxy file. So yes, really would be creating a proxy file. Let's just go ahead and answer no. Editing with smaller proxy clips will result in a faster, smoother when exporting your project. That seems like about the same question. So I have to go back and look at that when I do this stuff. No, 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 no. All right, there we go. So we answered no, 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 no. So it's asking the same question over and over for unknown reasons. So here we have our clips. So if we wanted to check out a clip, we can double click it. Here over on the right, we have just the image file. Looks like it's a default setting of 5 seconds that played for. If we want to do a playing of a video clip, we can double click this video clip. So here are the different files. So you can kind of do a preview and decide which of these clips that you're wanting to use. So let's get right to it. Now certainly we could just drag all of these clips right to the timeline and then they would fall into the timeline. We can shuffle them around, but so you kind of want to decide what your order is. Take a look at your clips and what they're about. So we've got a couple different time lapses in there. All right, so let's just go and figure, what was the one where we were pulling out of the garage? Not that one, not that one, this one. So let's start with this one. We're going to drag this into the timeline. The resolution or framing of this media does match the project settings. So that's what we were just kind of talking about. So this is 30 frames per second and some of those other clips were showing 29.97. So now we have to kind of make a decision which way we're going to go. We can either like keep the original project settings or keep these settings. You have to make a choice. Let's just go with the 30 frames per second. So here we go in our timeline. So in our timeline, we can see that this file is fairly long, 1:06. Scroll over to the right. Shouldn't say it's 1:06 long, it's longer than that. So it's like a 5-minute clip. I'm not wanting to do a 5-minute clip of this one deal. So what we'll go ahead and do here is take a look at this, put our cursor in the timeline. They have a nice like little cut up icon here. Let's stretch this out to maybe like 20-25 seconds and then select cut. And I have the file to the left, the file to the right. I'm highlighting the file to the right. I'm going to hit my delete key on the keyboard. Now I just have kind of a portion of that clip. Now when we have that clip, I can I can click on the clip with my left mouse and then hover the mouse right at the end of the clip and I can shorten the duration of this clip even further, or I can lengthen it. So after you've done the clip, or cutting of the clip, you can still resize it to a different size. So basically we want to repeat that process and kind of pick an order of events in the video. So there we're pulling out driving. That's probably going to be fine for that. Now let's take a look at doing something different. Maybe we want to have this short little clip there. Maybe this clip. So we're down by the river. So just start dropping the files in the order or sequence that you envision would be best. Now here we can see the check mark, which means I've already included that clip in the video. So you can see now we have a check mark and a plus. This one hasn't been used because there's no check mark next to it. Oops. You're using the free trial version of Filmora X. Videos exported from the free trial will include a watermark. So that's what you have to do. When log in to activate, oh my gosh. So Matt's going to have a watermark in his video, so he might need to buy Filmora if he likes using the trial version, is what that's telling us. I have not purchased the version. I did purchase a FILMORA screen, which I created a video on earlier on my YouTube channel, which I'll put a link in the description and above. But I have not yet purchased FILMORA. My primary application that I use is Premiere Pro. All right, so there we had a few clips added. Let's add a few photos perhaps. And then what can we do? Maybe I was gonna say a night time lapse, but there's a, what's this one doing? That's regular speed. That was a time lapse. All right, what is this screen? Look at that. You can change your timeline. You can shrink this to make it a little bit more easier to work with. So here we're just clicking the plus and minus symbol between those, just kind of moving this. So like here, the 2 minutes now is filling up the whole screen. So to kind of depending what you're editing, which we'll cover here in a second, you want to determine how much of this space you need on the screen. So here I kind of have all the files there. All right, so we had that time lapse. So now what if we want to put this file right here? Most video editing programs, we can left drag the mouse and highlight all of those clips. And then we can drag them to the right, creating a space. Now we'll click this clip and move it to the right. And then drop this clip into that spot. Maybe we'll move this one over. So here we're just kind of doing a basic reordering of clips. Go ahead and highlight these. So again, like left clicking on the mouse and holding down the left mouse until you drag the green area over all the clips to select them all. And then move them off to the side. Now that's some annoying sounds. I think somebody was mowing the lawn. So here we have a volume. So we have audio and then volume. Can do that too. If we slide that down now. Now we hit play to play through our timeline, and there is no annoying noise in the video. Probably gonna just want to go ahead and do that for all of these clips because I'm imagining they're all going to have that issue. Now if you're just going to do all audio tracks, sorry, if we're going to do a video where we're just going to use music to the video, I could probably just go ahead and mute out the video for all of these. Sorry, mute out the audio for all of these. And the pictures don't have any audio. And lastly, let's go ahead and look at some of these time lapse at night. And let's just finish it out with that. All right, so we got a general progression of clips decided upon. Now we're thinking about whether we want some audio. We could also look at whether we want a title, and we could do transitions. If you look at a lot of the videos on TV or YouTube, very rarely do you see much of a transition effect where you're doing a special video effect between one clip to the other, like fading to black and then fading back in. And if you're going to do something, that's probably a really good one, is just fade to black and then fade back in. But all these fancy page curls and all that, if you start doing a lot of that, it's just really distracting from the content of the video or the story of the video. So I would encourage you not to do that. But all these video editing softwares like kind of talk about, we have 300 different transition effects that you can do. You can go from here to here, here to here. So you could drag, let's say, this transition effect down between these two clips. And then when it goes from one clip to the other, it does like a cool effect. But if you do that 50 times in a 2-minute video, it just becomes kind of annoying. So you might not want to do that. But You could occasionally use it for special effect by grabbing one of these and then dragging it like right in the middle of the clip, so it's kind of transitioning between those two. And let's go ahead and select play, give an illustration of that. So there you go. Now we're seeing a tip right here about playback quality. So if we select full playback quality and you're not seeing the video play in this window in a timely manner, it's very laggy, then you probably want to go from full to half to quarter to eighth. So if you went to like 1/8, the quality that you see is going to be a lot lower, but that might be preferable over it being really skippy where you can't tell what's happening. So let's do a quarter. So here we can see the video resolution is really significantly worse, but at least I can see what that effect is and play it kind of through at a somewhat moderate speed. My computer can handle more than the 1/8 speed, so we'll go back to the half quality. Let's go again and take a look at that at the half quality. You can see that the image is a little bit less jagged. There is still like a little bit of a stuttering during the playback. Alright, I don't really prefer that transition, so we're going to get rid of the transition. We got some effects that we can apply in Filmora. So you could use those to, again, probably don't overuse them. But let's just go ahead and take a chromatic aberration and put that on there and see what that looks like. So here we're playing along this clip, and then now in this clip there's this like weird skippy glitchy kind of thing on there, which could be really cool to the music depending on what you're doing. So if we want to get rid of that, let's see here, we stop. Oh, delete effect. So we're going right clicking and then selecting delete effect. And then there goes that clip. What is the sound on that one? Yeah, we got to get rid of the sound again. Let's double check all the other ones. Looks like we muted the sound on all the rest of those clips. Alright, so we can use these stock effects, and it looks like we could go on to Wondershare and pay for more effects. So you can kind of decide how you want to do these different effects, or if you want to do them. Let's do another example of one. Would never use that. You can also go ahead and do edit undo or control Z on your keyboard to get rid of that. We'll just take another look at a couple more of these. 70s effect. Yeah. Black and white film. So play with those effects. Use them sparingly or appropriately would be my advice. We might want a title. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these titles. Basic 6, demo text. I don't really like the colored backgrounds. Your headline title here. Ooh, that looks nice. So let's go ahead and decide we want this title. So let's drag this down into the timeline. It goes onto a new video track separately than that track. So if we move our mouse over here, now we have this text. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to, I was trying to double click thinking it would highlight the word, but double clicking is not highlighting the word. So I can move my mouse to the far left and hit my shift key and then my right key. That didn't really like work. So is there a trick to this? Maybe we have to just move our mouse to the far left and go delete, 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 and then type 2006 Corvette. So then we have a title group controller. Now does it just let you drag it? So you can drag this where you want it. Maybe we go there. Oops. Now you notice here when I move it to the center, once we hit where the text is centered, it's putting the green line up and down the screen to kind of tell us we are in the center of the image. Here we can just kind of control the size to make it bigger or smaller. That's the scaling. We can rotate it. Or change the position. We've kind of put it in this position here. What's advanced do for us? Text space. We've got some extra features over here. Let's move this back out of the way. Oh, we can just edit the text there. Hey, hey. So you can edit it over the video like I just did, or you can kind of go over here and change it to be something else. And then you can choose your font style. That would not be a good one. That would not be a good one. Put it at that. So you can choose your font style or your font size, whether it's bold or italicized. You can control your color. Transform, that's what we saw on the screen. Compositing, blending mode. We'll leave that as default. That would be more advanced stuff. I was just looking here to see if there's a shadow effect in this program for the text. And I don't really see a shadow per se. Cinema style. Looks like we can do some effects to the text, so let's take a look here. When we go through here, we can see there is almost like a little bit of a blend effect going on there. Slowly is fading in the text. Let's see what happens when we do this. Oops, stretch and zoom in. Zoom in, stretch and zoom in. So how do you apply that effect? Do you just double click it? Yeah, double click. Very thin line. So this is like maybe a little bit more advanced stuff, but I'm kind of curious on the animation part. So you can choose one animation, but like where is it indicating what the animation you have? I would have expected that in the left area here to have an effect which would have applied on top of the text, would have been my thinking of what would have been done. Or you would think in here that we would see what the transition is, or the special effect or animation is that's being applied, but it doesn't really show up there. So I guess if you're wanting to change it, you just have to select something else. Oh, we got to double click. All right, so let's take a look at that. Go ahead and select play. Got our special effect. Pause. Looks like somebody's driving and playing on their phone. What I'm actually doing is trying to close my garage door because I don't have the garage door opener programmed for the Corvette on the visor up here. So I'm opening up my smart home app, smart things app, and closing the garage door. All right, so presets, animations. So they have kind of some preset text styles that you could use there. All right, so let's select OK to apply that, and then that takes us out of that screen. So now we have the transitions. We've covered kind of like some different effects. We've covered for Matt how to add a title. Elements. What's going to give us an element? More elements. Ooh, look at these things he could do. Let's put one of those on here and see what that's all about. It's downloading the content. This looks like it would be a Batman effect. Boom. So Matt probably is going to want to put a lot of those in his Filmora video, or not. So use that sparingly. But there's like some different things you can have. Like maybe if his Corvette's really fast and shooting flames, you can apply some effect like this. That could be kind of used as basically a transition between clips if you wanted. So if you kind of place that far enough. So here we're going to zoom in like a little bit more so we can kind of see things a little bit more full size. But let's say we could drag that like right over there. So by zooming in, I have a little bit more control over placement of things. So now by doing that, we kind of created a transition effect using the flames kind of over the two clips. When we zoom in here, we can also see that we have a little bit of a problem or a glitch in our video because there's a little black spot there that we put in that we had not noticed. There. Of course, now all the other ones have the same issue. Shift end. Can we do Shift end? Let's try this out. Do some keyboard shortcuts. Shift and end. No. So we're just going to have to zoom out. I don't know the keyboard shortcuts apparently for this. We're going to select all of those clips. Going to zoom back in until we can really see that gap. And then I'm going to left click and move it to the left. Didn't work for me. Oh, because I've got one extra clip selected. There, we've kind of got rid of that gap. Let's just scroll to the right and see if we have any other weird gaps in here. Not seeing any gaps. Now, if you had a gap, it looked like on that other clip, there's like a little black area in the red timeline that was kind of showing up. All right, so we did elements. We don't really need to do a split screen. Could do a split screen if we wanted to. So that's kind of interesting. Drag to timeline to apply. So now I have a split screen. Let's see if we figure out how this works. I think what we could do is it's as simple as dragging one image to the left side and another image to the right side. Now we have like a split screen effect with just a still image. Now this wouldn't be the greatest image to use for split screen because we can't see the entire car. So let's, if we click that and go minus, yeah, that doesn't really help us much. So I'm gonna hit the delete button, Let's say we want to take 2 video files. That would probably be more appropriate. Yeah, we can maybe do one. Let's do images. These images would fit in here nicely where we're not so zoomed in on the car. Let's zoom in on this one a little bit and see if we can drag our image up. If I drag it too far, it reveals the video underneath, so we don't want to do that. So we'll drag that down slightly, and then just from a scaling perspective, let's make this one like a little bit bigger to match up with the picture on the right. So since we're doing that there's no need to have this other video file hidden underneath it. So we're going to left click and drag the mouse to select all these videos, move them to the right. Let's just go ahead and move the split screen down into the timeline. Highlight these clips again, move them to the left. Take a look to see what the hell that's. That was our flames. I want a little bit of flame. Yeah, see, like here when you're, click there. So when you see when I'm moving it here, it wants to go to the left or to the right of the clip. I can't place that flame right over the middle of the clip at this view level. No, it probably looks like it's just going to work out. Yeah, that works out. All right, so we're experimenting with there is like if I have the cursor selected in this spot and then zoom in, as you're zooming in, it keeps that on the screen. So that's kind of where I wanted to be. So before when I was trying to move this, it was going here or it was going here. But now that we're zoomed in, I can kind of place it strategically over there and use that as an effect or a transition effect. Now what we did see there is when we're looking at this photo, we have black to the left and to the right. So we're going to need to make this photo bigger. So how are we going to do that, eh? As they would say in Canada. So its scale is 100%. Let's go ahead. So what we did there is double clicked on the image. We can see images selected, color, there's an animation, there's a scale. So let's go ahead and zoom in by clicking on this and moving to the left. So we could type in a number, or we could move this to the left and to the right. So let's just kind of make that where we can see that. Now we probably want to zoom back out and do the same with these other pictures. Now if they're the same size images, then the percentage would be the same. Oops, I need to put our mouse over the picture that we're about to edit. So there we want the mouse over this image. We want to select this image and then move the cursor in the timeline over that image so I see it on the screen. So we're clicking with the left mouse. zoom in on that. You can also position it by dragging the mouse left and right, up and down. Alright, so again, you want to make sure to move the mouse to the timeline of the image you're about to edit, because if we put the mouse over here and select this image, it can get confusing because we're going to go 160 and nothing seems to change because we didn't change this image down here, we changed the image here. So you could like kind of get confused there. So we'll select 120. Have some different like funky animations you can put on there. Customize, position. Yeah, that's more advanced stuff. Let's not go into editing and creating animations in here to too high of a degree. I think that is more advanced. We could try to figure it out though rather quickly. Let's say this is a position. Let's do this. Let's say we want to start here for whatever reason. Select OK. Oops. Didn't want to do that. Double click our image down here again. So we have scale. Customize presets. We're in animation. You would think we could animate this 100%. That doesn't work. Am I following my own rules? We got that file selected. It's at 100%. Add. So here we go. Add keyframe. So add a keyframe. Oh, there we go. Dar. So this is like a nuanced difference. So down here we see a dot, and down here we see a dot. So this keyframe, the scale of the video image is 100%, and the same is true at this keyframe. So I think what we're wanting to do is drag this keyframe to the left of the clip and make it, let's say, 115%. Then what we'll notice as we scrub through the timeline, it zooms out to the car, because by the time we get to this keyframe, it's at 100%. But I'm stumbling with my words. So you could probably do whatever you want here, but you kind of create effects. So here we can see we're starting out at that percentage and then slowly getting smaller, and then it stops. So maybe you want it to stop before the end of the clip, maybe you don't. So I'm going to drag it down here, this keyframe, to the far right of the clip. Now as that clip plays, it's going to zoom out. We could do the same the other direction as well. So here we are at the beginning of this clip. We can select add, so adjust this to where you want. Put this cursor to the start of the clip. Select add. Move to the end of the clip. Do the zoom that you want. Slide it a little bit more to the very edge of the clip to make sure you have them both there. Then now I have a zoom in effect during the clip. You could also go to the end of the clip and do some funky weird stuff like you're rotating. Let's take a look at that. That could be interesting. If we're going to do that though, it looks like we'd have to be at a much larger scale because we're going to have black bars in there. So we'll probably want to have to click on this keyframe on the clip. Let's zoom in a little bit more so you can see that. So here's this like line. The dot is a keyframe at the start. Dot is a keyframe at the end. Let's make this even a bigger scale. Now when it rotates, we don't have any, well, we still have a black area. So I think probably the problem is we need to start at the starting keyframe. We need to have a bigger scale to start with, would help us. Still a little bit of black. Let's just keep that there and then adjust. So we're still selected with that keyframe. So I think if we go ahead and zoom in here, at the point where the black was showing, now we should be okay. So let's hit play on that, play it at real speed. All right, so we did cover some advanced stuff there. I was curious myself. Again, I'm not a user regularly of the FILMORA Wondershare program. For video editing, I mainly use Premiere Pro. I've used probably a dozen other video editing apps over the years trying to find the perfect video editing app. Let me let you in on a secret. There is no perfect video editing app. As you start to use video editing apps, you're going to find that you love the way that FILMORA does one aspect of video editing because it makes sense and it's easy, and then you go to Premiere Pro and you think Premiere Pro sucks at that, but it does other things way better than FILMORA Pro, or it gives you more control, so you might like Premiere for those reasons. But then there's like that one feature maybe that you're using over and over and over in FILMORA, but you find in Premiere Pro that you hate that functionality in Premiere Pro, like the way that they do it doesn't make any sense, and it drives you nuts. And so then you stop using Premiere Pro and you start to look at some other editing software like the Sony Vegas software or DaVinci Resolve. So there's a variety of different ones out there, but you're going to find as you use some of these different video editing apps that you love things that one video editing app does because it makes sense, it's easier to use, but you hate certain things that it does, which causes you to look for a better video editing app. And then once you get to that better video editing app, you find that it does that better, but it does a lot of other stuff in a manner that you think makes no sense or is kind of problematic for you and your workflow. So then you start looking at a third video editing app, and then you find that it resolves some of the issues but brings in some new issues. And then eventually you might stumble across someday a video editing app that you can kind of live with. Now, from a very basic perspective, just in our time here so far, I think FILMORA is pretty easy to use and pretty intuitive for me, but that's from the perspective of somebody who's been doing video editing with different programs for, maybe 10 or 15 years. So some of the concepts seem to make sense to me. Maybe to Matt, who's a beginning FILMORA user, or to yourself, maybe these concepts are a little bit foreign and it looks kind of complex, but comparatively to some video editing programs anyway that I've used, this is a pretty basic video editing program that an average to maybe below average person could use rather quickly. Comparatively, take that same person into Premiere Pro, they're probably going to get pretty confused. Premiere Pro would give you way more adjustability and customability of your video editing process, but it might be way too overwhelming for an average beginner. So you have to take that into account. All right, so here we go. So split screen, we just take a look here. You can do all these other cool split screen effects. So I think this is like really, really cool. If I was using Premiere Pro, at least with the way that I use Premiere Pro, if I wanted to do some sort of funky split screen of this nature, it would take me a while. I'd be manually editing the clips and resizing them and repositioning them. I couldn't do it this easy, but in FILMORA, it's like not a problem. So, maybe even somebody that uses Premiere Pro but can't figure out how to get a four-way split screen, maybe they want to use FILMORA to do that aspect of the video edit, export that file, and then bring it into Premiere, because it seems to be pretty easy here. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on that. All right, so let's wrap this up soon here. So let's go ahead. We have to look at our audio file. There are some different audio files. They kind of have them categorized here. We can sort by electronic. Now, by default, they're not on your computer. We can see there's a download sign. So if we wanted to hear what this song is about, we would double click or click plus, either way. I guess not hit plus, but double click so you can listen to it. Would be a good place to start. So that downloaded the file. See how the download symbol is no longer there? So it's not really playing by double clicking, it's just downloading it. Now if I click it, double click, it would play. So you can kind of look at these. These should be more copyright free, so you should be able to use them in any video and then put the video on any of your social media platforms without concern for copyright infringement. We were talking about earlier going into YouTube Studio. So now we've seen our clips, so taking a look here at YouTube Studio. Normally my workflow, I would start listening to different songs And kind of find one that I think moves me or lines up with the clip. Oh yeah, this is kind of like me driving beat. We can do some editing like on that beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I kind of like that one. It's 2 minutes long. We might have to edit our video a little bit here or there to stretch it out to that or fade the music out. So here we have a song. Let's select download. Let's go to the folder. Let's copy the file. Let's go back to our other folder where we're doing all of our project files. We're putting them in here. Put that clip in our music folder. Get out of that. And now what do we need to do? We need to go to media. So I click on the media icon and then we'll go back into that folder and we'll drag our song over into the timeline. Not into the timeline, into the media folder. There's our song. So let's add that to our project. Probably would want to move our cursor. So like zoom out a little bit here. All right, so now we'll drag this down and place it where we want it. Goes to a new track. As you can see, our video is too long to match up with the song, so we need to make up a decision whether to choose 2 songs or shorten the video up. I will choose to shorten the video. Now we have this audio. We want to take a look at making it bigger. If we can do that, will FILMORA do that for us? Yes, we drag the top and make it bigger. So making it bigger and zooming in, because now here we can see where the beat of the music is. Let's go ahead and hit play. So you don't always have to put music on the beat. Most people don't do it. It's kind of time consuming. I like to do it. So you have to kind of do what you think is best depending on the clip and what you're going for. But if you wanted to do it, let's take a look at that. So we're going to hit play and we're going to listen for where the beat falls. I usually try to find out what the measure is of the song, whether it's like 3/4 or 4/4. So if it's 4/4, we'll start to hear the beat where's beat 1. So usually I will like listen for 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So that's like been a total of 8 counts. And then right on 1, then I transition. So you have to kind of decide how long before you transition. Do you want to like go 4 beats and then go to the next clip, 4 beats, next clip? Maybe you want to do 8 beats of music and then the next clip, and then 8 beats of music, then the next clip. So let's take a listen here. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So we know we need to do some editing, so probably like about 8 is about all I'm going to do on this one. So let's go back and listen to this a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So right there is our beat 1. Now if we wanted to see that even closer up while we're editing, we could zoom in even a little bit more. So here's where our clip ends. So I'm making the executive decision that we need to do some editing. So I'm going to drag this all the way to here so that we have a transition. And now here we could just listen to the music and continue on, but this track has such a distinct beat, as we can see visually here, that we could just do the editing based on that. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, beat 1. So we could go 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, beat 2. So that'd be like one way to do it. Give you another kind of like tip that you could do. So here we have this beat here. We could actually select cut to split the clip and kind of create a basic effect. So now what we're going to do is on this portion of the clip, we're going to like move it somewhat randomly ahead. So there's like a little bit of a jump from here to there. Well, this isn't working too well because we're not moving. So here, let's go a little bit more of a jump. So we're just kind of cropping the beginning of that cut clip. So we're going to have a transition here where it goes from the car stopped to the car skipping ahead. And then we'll count out 8 beats from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, move the cursor to the far left, hit play. We'll let this play out a little bit more. We're probably going to want to take a look at that still. So let's see here, we're 1. Uh-oh. So here we've got some extra stuff, so it's going to be needing to look at that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I think we're going to want to stop right there because we don't have enough extra beats. Select the clip, put our cursor between the 2 clips. Let's drag this to the left. I give Filmora props for the way that they do that. A lot of editing programs, when you were to do that by default, they would just go ahead and leave a gap there, and then you have to drag all of your other clips to the right and reposition them. Unless you know the shortcut key, like a lot of them have a shortcut key, they could press and hold that key while you're sliding it to the left, and it would take all the stuff to the right when you moved that other 1 clip to the left. All right, so here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, we're running out of space there. So we're gonna have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we're gonna want to stop right there. So we'll just put our cursor there. And the purpose of doing that is now when we do the selecting of the file and sliding to the left, when it hits that spot, it kind of has like it kind of stops there automatically versus going past it. So you can kind of see it stop. And then by stop, I mean kind of snaps to that position. All right, so now we have a bunch of grass. Isn't that exciting stuff? We probably don't need to show so much grass on here, so let's shorten this clip. Again, props to Wondershare for doing that. So again, a lot of video editing programs by default, when you would make that crop, it would leave a big black empty space in the video timeline, and you'd have to drag all of your clips that are to the right of that over to the left. But Filmora is helping us out here by just immediately moving all the clips to the left. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that car's almost out of sight, which is good. All right, so we kind of get a sense of what we're doing or how that's turning out. Let's go ahead here and hit play for this first part. All right, we've reached an interesting spot. Our music rhythm has changed. We did not listen to this entire song to find out what's going on, so we don't seem to have as much of a driving beat here as we used to. So let's take a look at what we're going to have to do here. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a dilemma with our clip length being what it is. I think probably what we're going to actually want to do is make this one longer. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So if we make this one just like a little bit longer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then that will make our next clip long enough where we get back where it is into the beat. So there, we don't really have that strong beat, but we have like a little bit difference of a sound. So right here, it kind of picks back up, so we can use that as a spot to go ahead and crop. The video length. So here, we're kind of like listening to this part. It does start at the beat. Is about the same clip really at the end of that, so don't really like that. So I might say we want to get rid of this clip because it doesn't seem all that interesting. So I selected the clip and hit delete. Also, we'll have to make an executive decision. Let's go ahead and find this last beat and actually make this prior clip a little bit longer. So right when we transition, we're like hearing the noise and then boom, and then we get into this kind of like dreamy area. For this part. And then we want when the sound picks back up and there's like a little bit more of a beat. Then we'll go to the next transition, take a look at that. So we're clicking over here, selecting play, so we can start from that point of the video. Yeah, so now we're like picked a song where it is harder to decide where to transition. So here it's almost like impossible to do a beat. So you're just looking for some sort of interesting sound that kind of would make sense to do a video clip on there, or a video transition from one clip to the next. Yeah, and there's not really a good spot. I kind of hear that noise. Starting right there, we have kind of an interesting sound that could be used as a transition point, I think. And again, we have a little bit difference of sound effect. So right there, the frequency changed right there. So let's go ahead and clip on that. Ooh, we're into our split screen area. Alright, I think we had sound changed right before that, so we might probably want to make that shorter. Oh, go back. Play! Yeah, that one's like a little bit tougher. Two. I think I might make that one longer. So there I'm just like listening to that rhythm and then kind of like following that and using that as a cut point where it kind of starts its repetition. Not perfect. Another thing I just thought about here is when we're into here, it does not, I'm just like settings. Oh, oh, there you go. I'm just kind of wondering if it does let you animate. Customize, add. Yeah, so you can do a keyframe on these too by double clicking that. See here, where's our, how do you tell where your cursor is? Oh, you move your cursor around. It's up to me. So if we added a keyframe here, and then added a keyframe here, and then moved this to the end, selected this video, and moved in slightly. That created a new keyframe. You'll see down here. Move that to the right. Selected this clip. Move this side. Drag that a little bit in. Maybe even move it to the left to get it in the center. And then move that to there. That's, oh, there. Come on, stop. Damn it. Well, I got that one down, kind of. But it did not zoom differently, so... Oh, what the hell just happened there? All right. Oh, we're on the next clip. So when we're on this clip here, did we not zoom in? Oh, that's that one. I'm getting my screens mixed up. So that's that one. This needs to go to here to get these on the same size. So this is the clip on the right. So there it is, zooming in on both. All right, a little bit of a sidetrack there. I'm stopped talking, really into my own head there, trying to figure out how that works. So you can edit this split screen video and do a transition on those as well. So when I get into the split screen, we're up in here, and then we have the settings option. And when we get into the settings, it's not just the settings for the left side, but it's the settings for both sides. So you basically have a new timeline with two clips. This clip is on the right side, this clip is on the left side, and then we can actually do animation on these clips. So we can, here's where the image is, we can do all these different effects, we can do color changes of the video or image, and we can do animation. So we used animation by clicking here to create keyframes. So we started at the beginning and we selected add, went towards the end, selected add, and then adjust the scale and position of the clips from beginning to end. So rather than just having that boring static image, we have like a little bit of movement there. All right, that was like a little bit of a sidebar. Go ahead and hit play. There we can see it all zooming in on the images. Ooh, I like that sound. Now we ended up way at the beginning, so that's kind of disconcerting. Go back to here. Let's listen to our music again. Where does it start? Sounded like it started about right there, so I've got an idea for that. We're gonna click on our image or double click on our image, add a keyframe at that spot, just leaving everything at the default. But then we have that weird sound right here. We're picking back 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So probably we're going to clip this thing about right there. Oops. Rawr. Edit undo. Don't know what I did there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that is not quite where I want it. Let's move this cursor to the beat that will help us snap to that spot when we slide to the left. And then what we're going to do here is get to the end and do a scale. Like something like that. So we're playing off there is that sound in the music. It was whoosh. So like right when that starts, we're kind of zooming in or starting the zoom of the image. So let's listen to that. All right, unfortunately we somehow did a keyframe on this one. I think I had a bunch of clips selected or something. Oh, no, maybe I did this. I've already forgotten how this keyframe got there, to be honest. All right, so anyway, maybe that was when we were experimenting earlier. So this doesn't really work out for me anymore, so let's go ahead and select this keyframe. I don't want my video to be cropped in that far. Let's just leave that one there. Well, maybe we should zoom. Start there, and let's position this car in the middle by dragging the mouse. It's interesting, it kind of has like a little bit of movement there. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That was our cool spinning effect. Go ahead and slide the mouse to the left. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Ooh, we can do our flame right at the speed of 1. And we can probably make our flame shorter. Think a lot happens with that. Well, how's that going to work out? All right, so I like that. I hope you like that. I'm kind of excited about that. I'm becoming a FILMORA fan with this long video that I'm creating. I think I might use this more. Maybe I should purchase it and stop paying Premiere for my subscription. Although they have 360 video editing for my GoPro camera, the GoPro Max and GoPro Fusion. They have a plug-in which is not something I could be doing in FILMORA, so I'd have to use different editing software for that. But I digress. So here we go. Got the transition. Started on beat 1, so here we're beat 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. All right, now we've reached the end of our video clips. We still have more song, not very much more song. So now we need to make a call on what to do with this empty space. We could certainly shorten the song length and just kind of end the video there, or we could find another clip. I think we'll just go ahead and find another clip since we're so close to the end anyway. So select OK here just to get out of the screen from the prior stuff that we were doing. Here we have media. Let's find a clip that we have not used. That might be interesting. Is there such a clip? Ooh, another time lapse. That's probably too long. Don't really like that because it's like a time lapse on a time lapse. Kitten, what are you doing, kitten? Why are you so sad? Maybe we'll just go ahead with this clip. Kind of peaceful. So we'll go ahead and drag that clip down into the timeline. Way too long. So let's go ahead and select here and then select cut. And Then left click on the remaining clip and hit the delete key. I don't like the fact that the car is so small, so we'll double click on that. Select transform, increase our scale. Oops, increase our scale. Maybe we'll start about there. Let's go ahead and do that. Stabilization, motion tracking. That we don't need. That sounds like advanced stuff, not to be covered in this video. Compositing. Nope. Well, kind of more of an advanced note, and I'll have to like look into this a little bit further. So on the image we did keyframing. So where is my ability to keyframe? So that is did animation, customize. So that's where we get to our keyframe. So they do presets where they'll do some stuff for you automatically without you having to be in control, or you can select customize, and that's where we can be in control of keyframes. So let's do get this cursor to the beginning. Select add keyframe. Gonna move it a little bit to the left. Now let's move it to the right. And then zoom in a little bit even more. And then move our drag our keyframe, selecting the left mouse and dragging it to the right down on the timeline. So now it kind of has this zoom in effect, like the camera operator actually did a zoom from that point to that point. Now, do we want to do some sort of fancy transition here? Select OK because I'm done with that. Let's take a look at this. You know what? I've decided I don't want this clip here. Bam, delete. Left click and delete. We need to figure out how we're going to make this clip longer so it reaches all the way to the right. So let's right click. What kind of options do we got here? Speed and duration. Look at that. Control and R would do it too. All right, I selected that with my mouse. Speed is 1. We want it to be slower. So here its duration is 16 seconds. We need it to kind of go out to here if possible. So we can, let's see if we can go to 20. That is longer or less. Yeah, we want it to be 20. That makes it longer, not long enough. Speed and duration. So half as long? I have to think about the math on this one. Like, I'm used to like here, I want it to be 200%, so 50%. Like, yeah, I'm thinking in percentages. So this is 50% long. So when it was 1 is really meaning 100%. So let's say let's say 100% is 16. So if you want it to be twice as long, then you would go down to 0.5, which is really saying 50%, which is twice as long. Is that good? That's maybe too long, but that's fine. So let's go there. Let's see how that looks at the ending, if that looks messed up. Now keep in mind that's probably not ideal to be doing here, but well, we'll see how it renders out. It'll probably render out just fine in the end, but there might be a little bit of skippiness there because of the frame rate and making it so long. All right, so we kind of had that. We had the sound kind of fades out. So now we need to do a transition. Like, I am a firm believer of a transition at the end of the video. So we want to do something like a fade to black or something of that nature. So let's take a transition, cube, no, fade, flash, bar. We don't need any. Maybe we could do some sort of weird thing. I don't know. I'm just going to do a simple fade to black. So just drag that to the end. I'm going to zoom in. So here's our transition. Show properties. So we're right clicking on the transition and selecting show properties. Duration. So our music started fading out way earlier. So let's take a look. So if we change the duration here to 6. Whoops. Maybe we have to just go up and down. Up, up, up. Interesting. It doesn't let us change that. let's drag it there. So it doesn't really do that. So here I am used to, in lots of video editing programs, being able to just grab this transition and slide it in the timeline to the left. I could kind of have it start here. So this is perplexing me as not a regular user of this program as to how I can make this fade to black go on for like 10 seconds. So that just kind of seems odd to me. Fade. It's like a 2-second fade. So how do you make it fade to more than 2 seconds? Take a look at that again. Duration. So I'm hitting my backspace thing in the, oh there, so let's go 10, and it goes back to 2, so go figure. So what are we doing wrong, people? Duration. Does it let us go up arrow to increase or down arrow to decrease? No. Can we change this to 1? No. We are a failure. We have failed. We have officially failed. It will not let me go higher than that. That is just so odd to me. Hey kitty kitty, what's up? You want to be on the YouTube video? Yeah? Zoom in even further. So maybe there's something weird going on here. So it is because, well, it kind of goes to there, so it overlaps that. So if we drag it off, won't let you drag it to the left. Hey, this is Simba. He wants to help. It's not really a good time to help Simba. This is a critical juncture. We're trying to finish up. So he's going to be jumping up in front of my microphone and banging into it every few seconds. Silly cat. Uh-oh. I'm going to grab the timeline to the far left here, and we'll drag it all the way to the right to scroll to the right. We have this like clip right there, and I think maybe that's where the problem is that we kind of had another clip at the end. Now let's do fade again. That's kind of what we're looking for, hopefully. Now can we go minus? Will it go? There we go. All right. User error. User error. Sorry to waste so much time. So we've now just learned that you need to make sure you don't have a very infinitesimal small clip at the end, because when we were doing that transition, it was transitioning between this one and that one, and it wouldn't allow any more than that fraction of a second because that was the size of that other clip, I believe. So it's kind of like locked into that. So here now I can kind of scroll this back and forth to change the duration, or select here and look at duration and change it to, let's say, 6 seconds, and it will accept that and make it even longer. So that's what we're wanting. So that way at the end of our video, we just have that slow fade to black. All right, now that we've created this video, we need to go ahead and render the video. So let's select export. Export to device, upload to YouTube, upload to Vimeo. So you could do the direct upload to one of those two. Would probably ask you for your username and password to log into that. I'm just going to go ahead and create the video. Sorry, export to device, I think is what we'd want to do. Purchase Wondershare Filmora to export without a watermark, or export with watermark. So we'll do the export with watermark because we have not purchased this yet. We might consider doing so. All right. So iPhone, we're going to go to YouTube. So YouTube, title, settings, blah, 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 export. That's interesting. Oh, so it's just asking the title for the file name. 2006 Corvette settings for quality. So it's here we could change the quality level, better, best, good. So it's just your bit rate. So we'll do the better because we're just going to embed this into this video. Kitty, Simba, stay over there just for a few more minutes. So you can change the quality if you wanted to. Description created with when, I don't know why we need that. Almost looks like it's going to want me to upload this to YouTube is what it's trying to do. So yeah, it's going to want you to sign in. So that's kind of ended up back at the same spot really. So all right, so we want to go to device, local. How about local? That's what I would rather do. Local MP4 file, name of my video. Here's what the path that it's going to do it in. Let's create a new path to that. Videos, Filmora. Yeah. Recorded audio, uploaded files, recorded video. Yeah. What do we want to do here? Let's just create a folder called rendered. So you could do something like that. Technically, now that I think about that, for me, I actually have a drive dedicated to rendered videos. So video render, and I kind of categorize it, whether they're for like rendered to disk or in a DVD format. I do actually have a folder called files rendered Filmora there too. Now let's go ahead and do that. Select folder. Name the video 2006 Corvette. Look at the settings. Better, custom bitrate, 40,000, blah, blah, blah. That's probably fine. I don't think we need to go much higher. But you make those decisions. Select OK, and then select export. When done, sound reminder. I like that. All right, we'll speed up this portion of the video as well. All right, now we're done. Sound reminder didn't work because I didn't hear a sound of any kind at the end of that. So that's interesting. So let's go ahead and select Find Target. Files rendered video. So here's our video file. Probably could have brightened that clip up a little bit. All right. So now we could assume at the end of that whole process that we could remove the watermark. So if we were to save this project, which probably is a good idea, save project, make sure that we don't lose it. Maybe we should have done that long ago. I'm going to save the project in my folder with my files. So video create, Filmora, Matt Filmora how to, 2006 Corvette. So there's our project file. So by doing this, I have all of these files in one area, which I can kind of save and back up later. So if I ever wanted to revisit this video and re-edit it or remove the watermark by purchasing the application, I could do so, which I very well might do here. So go ahead and select save, but by putting it all in one spot, if I didn't do that and I renamed my folders or files in the different path, then it would kind of break the video if I ever tried to re-edit re-edit it again. So by putting everything together, you're kind of keeping all the clips you would need to re-edit the file later. That being said, I very rarely ever even do that, but it's a good habit maybe to get into. And all right, so we did that. So what if we wanted to go to help? So activate Wondershare Filmora X. So what happens when you enter the email, sign into Filmora, blah, blah, blah. Sign in with your Wondershare ID. So I don't have one of that. Unactivated. Sign in. Please input your email. Cancel. Help. Check for update. We already have an update. Yeah, so this is kind of interesting from a user perspective. You know, the other screen that we just looked at said like, hey, remove the watermark, which I'm assuming probably would prompt me to go to where I want to purchase it. So if you have a license code, bot activate Filmora, click here. There's really no link on this page that I see to purchase it. So let's click on the little question mark, Wondershare ID. So you would think that they would just have like a link to purchase Filmora from that screen, from the help menu. Hit play, buy now. Subscription plan. Oh, here's the catch-22. $39 a year. So it's one of those programs where products where you're not really buying it, you're getting a subscription year to year. What's a perpetual plan? $69 one-time fee. Add films, get 1 month free. Fine, I'll get access to Filmora X for life. This plan includes any updates to Filmora, but not versions beyond number 10. So you can kind of still purchase it. That's kind of cool. Ooh, a subscription plan, $100 a year. You get features and watermark and free tech support, unlimited downloads from film stock, and new effects every month. You can do some cool transitions. $70 is not a bad price in my opinion for the software. I don't know how long their life cycle is. Like with my luck, I would spend $70 today, and then like in 2 weeks, they'll announce that they're going to Filmora 11 or 12. I'm not sure what their time between releases is. I don't know like a lot about them, to be honest. But that's something to consider. So if you like the software after using it, to remove that watermark, then you're going to minimally have to pay $69 or minimally $39.99 to remove the watermark, which would get you 1 year. So you could create as many videos as you could in that 1 year without the watermark, and then after that, then you'd have to buy it for another year, at which point you'd have spent $80. Or you could pay $70 and basically use the version 10 forever for your entire life. However, if they go to a version 11 or 12, you're not going to be able to upgrade to that in the future unless you then pay some sort of fee again for an upgrade. So that's it. We've just shown Matt how to create a video using Filmora. We hope it's helpful to him. If it's helpful to you, please consider giving it this video a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. And now I'll go ahead and show you the clip that we just created in Filmora in its entirety. Have a great day.